How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TableTakes. It's the best 4 days in gaming all year round. And I am joined by my favorite co-hosts. We've got Peter Atkinson, Noir Enigma, and Bonsai Baby. So much has happened over the last week. I just want to check in with all of y'all, see how you're doing. Let's start with Peter for a change. Peter, how you been?
I'm great, Javion. Oh my gosh, I'm having a great week, and I'm so excited because next week a bunch of my favorite people are coming into town. The role players who played the Barbarians, which were the first series for Actoroki. We were just like testing out the idea, and it was back during COVID days. We all played on Zoom. And so once we got past the Zoom, the whole COVID thing mostly, and got to where people can meet in general, I said, I promised them, hey, I'm going to bring you all to Seattle so we can all play in person, and we'll have a Barbarians Christmas special, a reunion. And so it's happening next week. And
That's so exciting.
Yeah, very, very fun. And
I'm
you
very
were in
happy.
that. JB, you were in that series.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we learned about Augie.
It's so cool. I'm so excited for more Actoroki stuff. Peter, I think you neglected to mention something that is very important that's going on in your life.
Well,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I'm sorry, I give in to peer pressure easy.
Happy birthday, dear Peter. Happy birthday to you. Yay! It's Peter's birthday on Monday. We almost didn't even find out about it, but I was very sneaky. And I managed to get you to tell me when your birthday was. So
thank you.
I'm so happy for
Javion.
you, Peter. Congratulations. You made it a whole extra year. We're so happy to have you on our show, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. All your favorite. All right. Let's move on from that nightmare. Noir, how you been this week?
I'm not telling you anything about anything.
Okay, fair enough.
Keep it all close to the
We can just move on.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm good. I just got a bunch of LARP stuff because I'm going to a LARP in November.
Woo!
Ooh, that's
What's the
awesome.
theme? What's the setting? Tell us.
It is a full fantasy themed one. It's in LA. I've never been before. My friend is taking me. But I did get myself a nice leather armor today. And I got myself a carousel longsword, which is really cool. So there will be pictures aplenty, I assure you.
Wow.
That's so cool.
That sounds great.
You are very into like LARP world, as are all of you. I feel like I've never really dipped into any of that. That's definitely going to be a goal for next year, especially at Gen Con. If nothing else, definitely at Gen Con. I want to try some more LARP. Bonsai, how you been this week?
Doing good. I actually have a lot of exciting things planned for next week. More than that, I have 2 board game days planned with 2 separate groups of my friends, and so I'm trying to like smash some commitments together. Be like, hey, I'm setting a date. You better be there. Friendship. Yes. As it goes, and I'm also dog sitting this weekend. You don't see the other dog; she's outside. Boomer's having a little friend over, as you probably just see him pop there. So busy week for next week. So I'm just very excited about all the things I have planned. All the things.
Yes, very exciting. We actually finally started playing board games together. So let's just keep that ball rolling because you know how much I love board games. Speaking of which, what was I up to this week? Well, thanks for asking. I played a lot of Hades. I've been really, really sinking a lot of time into it, and I finally got to like the last boss and beat it, which is really cool. I'm also playing some more Smash Bros. I haven't played that in a long time, and I decided that Wario is a good character for me to learn how to play. Don't ask me why. I just decided. And last weekend I went to a casino for the first time in a long time, and I won about $135 on a blackjack table. And that was super fun. I'm real good at blackjack table. You can quiz me anytime, and I will tell you the perfect strategy for any situation. It's not about winning; it's about playing correctly. Speaking of which, let's do table text correctly. And let's jump into these headlines.
Woo.
First up, we've got Goblins, Gorgons,
Gorgon, yeah.
and Goldblum. Peter, take it away.
Goldblum! Yes, okay. Well, Alex Meehan at Dicebreaker has broken this based off of a tweet that came out that says Jeff Goldblum is going to be a miniature now. Yes, a fantasy RPG miniature. I mean, this is so much fun. I mean, who doesn't love Jeff Goldblum? I love Jeff Goldblum. I mean, The Fly, Jurassic Park. Okay, sure, but like Buckaroo Banzai, he was amazing. That was like one of my favorite films of all time. He's in that. So I think, one of my co-hosts said that this seemed a little campy, but it's Jeff Goldblum as a miniature. Who wouldn't want Jeff Goldblum? Anyway, I think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah. So this miniature, it looks like Jeff, of course. I mean, and he's buff. He's like working out, but he's a sorcerer. He's got robes, and he's got looks like knee-high boots, and I don't know, he looks pretty tough. He's got his like this spell casting pose, like he's ready to kick some ass with magic combat. It's going to come out by Strata Miniatures. This company is going to make it. They're making other characters that are also from the Dark Dice podcast, which is the series where Jeff Goldblum came, famously. If you missed that, then you're really behind the times. Jeff Goldblum was on the Twitcher doing the twitching. Yeah. And so this crowdfunding campaign is on Kickstarter. It goes through October 7th. Get there, buy the miniature, paint it, and then resell it to me and get your money back.
I didn't even realize you were such a big Goldblum fan, Peter.
I just love him because he's so geeky.
Man.
He's so goofy, and he usually plays like the smart, kind of scheming, kind of charming, kind of funny. I mean, a lot like me, really. I mean, yeah.
I'm sure he's a great addition to any D&D podcast, or any podcast for that matter. I have very limited experience with Jeff Goldblum. All I know about him is that one quote that he's got in the Jurassic Park movie that was really popular.
Finds a way.
Yeah, plus his like laugh, that weird laugh that he does. I love that.
There should be now a D&D universe game where people just all play different versions of Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
That'd be
and
fun.
then go at it.
Well, speaking of marvelous miniatures, there is a new one heading to retail very soon. If you're fans of D&D minis, here's another one to add to your collection, or several actually. They're monster packs that are heading to retail. These are new sea creature themed miniatures made in the deep cuts style. And for those that know, Nolzur's Marvelous Minis is a hard thing to say, but it's an easy thing to paint. It comes with deep cut miniatures that are easier to paint because the cuts are deeper. But it takes the paint deeper into the miniature. Yeah, you get it. Okay, cool. So the miniatures also come in clear packaging, not like those weird people who package their minis and don't show you what they look like. No, you will be able to see exactly what they look like before they're painted. So these are all the different ones that are being included in the new wave. We've got the Sea Elf Fighters, very self-explanatory. Here's one I had to look up. Water Weird. It's actually a creature called a weird. It's kind of like a humanoid water elemental, but the bottom half is kind of like a mermaid, or just completely made of water. So think of it like a mermaid made of water. Very weird. I agree. There's also pixies, death knights. We've also got some piercers and peritons. I had to look up how to pronounce that one because I wasn't sure. Peritons, which are just, well, the peritons are stags mixed with birds.
Yeah.
I feel like you can just take any creature, add bird, and then you have like a new creature, right? Like you have a new creature for D&D, or probably one that already exists. There's also the Lokatha, the sea creature, the sea fish humanoids, fish top humanoid, the rest of it, the body. It's like a reverse mermaid kind of. Also the seal, we cannot forget the seal. We would never do that to Marcus. Marcus loves seals, or at least maybe that's like who he would be if he was a creature in the deep sea. We've also got Merfolk, the Sahuagin Baron. I don't know anything about that one. I gotta look that one up. And we also got the Draconian Dreadnought, some very exciting minis. We've also got a huge gallery with all of them in the link in chat if you want to go take a look at what they look like for yourself before they get released. All of these, almost all of these, are going to be retailing for $4.99, except for the much bigger ones like the Merfolk and the Sahuagin Baron, which are $9 each, or the Draconian Dreadnought for $14.99. Now, if that wasn't enough miniature for you, maybe you want to check out an adult copper dragon. This is a new miniature coming from Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures. It's gigantic size, and it's retailing for $99.99 if you want it already pre-painted, or $89.99 if you want to paint it yourself. Save yourself a couple bucks. Very cool miniatures that are coming out. We're all super excited to see them.
I think Sahuagin, that's so Javion, I promise you, if you look into the Sahuagin, they will become one of your new favorite D&D races. They're amphibious, they're evil, and they're like cultists. Like they like worship demons, and they're like trying to bring back the end of the world. I mean, they're a great villainous species of critters.
Yeah, I'm definitely into that. Anytime you put a cult anywhere in like a weird space, it's bound to have like a lot of chaos involved with it. I actually grew up in a cult myself. I have a very high affinity for cults, and I'm sure you knew
and me
that.
both. You and
I'm
me
sure
both.
you knew
We
that.
bonded over that.
We
We have compared cult experiences growing up.
Yeah, very cool miniatures for you guys to check out. Definitely take a look if you're excited for some new minis to pick up for your D&D tables. Now let's just move on to something a little bit spookier. We've got some Halloween games bundle coming from Dicebreaker's article. Noir, tell us more.
Oh, I'd love to. Horror RPG bundle channels Devil Babies, The Wicker Man, MF Doom, and Internet Creepypasta for Halloween game night. First off, thank you, Matt Jarvis, for giving us this story. Let's get into it. A bundle of indie horror RPGs has launched on itch.io, offering an instant collection of unique, scary stories and spooky adventures for Halloween. The TTRPG Halloween Spooktacular Bundle brings together a mix of standalone games and scenarios for games such as D&D 5th Edition, including both existing titles and brand new releases making their debut. The RPGs include a pair of ghost-busting games in Alicia Furness's Paranormal Incorporated, a GM-less RPG in which surviving capitalism is as much a terror as the undead, and Rules Light RPG Unhaunt This House by Yanahan, which takes players with exploring a haunted building in an effort to exorcise its spectral residents. So you're getting all manners of spooky games for a really solid price here in this bundle. The 11 games and books can be had for the suitable demonic price of $16.66, knocking more than 80% off the usual value of $91. The 2022 TTRPG Halloween Spectacular Bundle will be available from October 1st. That's this Saturday until November 1st, spanning the whole of the spookiest month. So jump on it while you can. It's only $16.
This is awesome. We've covered some like TTRPG bundles in the past. Definitely a bunch that are really cool on itch.io. Have you played a lot of spooky RPGs, or do you feel like you play more fantasy RPGs more?
Personally, I'm more of a fantasy guy.
I've only played a handful, and mostly is like dread kind of like components. A lot of them I die horribly.
That gives me flashbacks to Gen Con this year when you were telling me about the LARP that the spooky LARP that everybody died
Oh, the
in.
Cthulhu-esque, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like horror when it's right. Me and some of my friends like to plan on doing a Halloween spooky themed one in the dark. where all you have is either candles, flashlights, and or your cell phone light as the only light you get.
Candles make
So-
anything spookier.
Everything.
I just play D&D as horror. I mean, like, yeah, just, I just try to make the D&D monsters tough enough and hard, that it's horrifying, and that scratches that itch for me.
I'm looking forward to TableTakes game night this month because we are going to be doing some very spooky RPGs. And if any of you out there are looking for more spooky RPGs, there's a bundle right here, and you can play along and find your own group to play some spooky RPGs. You don't have to only play over the table. You can find some people to play online as well. So this bundle is going to give you plenty of fodder for that. Now, let's move on to our next headline with a bonsai and some Stonemaier Games news.
Yes. Hey, so if I don't know if you noticed, but the world is like kind of messed up a bit. There's more temperature changes in the environment, drastic weather changes, more hurricanes and flooding. Talking about like Ivan going on right now. By the way, if you guys aren't aware of that, that's like going through Florida and a lot of the bottom southern
I mean,
states.
Hurricane Ian.
Ian. It's not Ivan.
No, it's Ian.
I thought it was Ivan. My bad. So, in this, like, of course, in this like time where we have to focus more on the earth and how to heal it, Stonemaier Games commits to sustainability with a lot of their more popular games. And just trying to do that for their whole line of games in general. This was brought to us by Jeffrey Dom Sanchez from ICV2. They basically.
Jeffrey.
Yes. Stonemaier is working to eliminate plastic / non-recyclable products from their games, such as Wingspan, most notably Wingspan and Scythe, and many more. What they're particularly trying to target is, of course, plastic inserts, plastic tokens, shrink wrap, and making all of their paper components like cardboard and such what is it called? Paper components and cardboard to be made from already recycled material that's being used. I really like this. I think for the past like year or so, a lot of game companies have been kind of making this note to become more sustainable, use more recyclable materials, maybe not have a million cards wrapped in plastic. So just like little steps like this does help. It's not like a huge announcement, but I do hope that a lot of other gaming companies kind of put this in mind that maybe, hey, we could make very fancy, nice, sturdy games without having to like hurt the environment in some sort of way. So yay for Stonemaier Games. Good job, I would say to you.
This is a very cool initiative. It's definitely a trend I would like to see continue. I think most of the Kickstarters that I've been able to back, I'm not talking about Stonemaier, I'm just talking about Kickstarters in general, have that as one of their big like selling points, one of their headlines for their game. It's like sustainable, or it's using recycled materials or something like that. It's very cool to see a company going back into their like library of games and rebooting them or remaking them so that they actually have components that like share the values of the people that are working there and the people that are playing their games. That's really cool. Although I had no idea how much board game waste there is, because I mean, I keep all my board games. That I never get rid of mine. I've never thrown a single board game away in my life. That sounds like sacrilege to me.
No, I think they're mostly thinking about like of course, like how there's these, I've seen at least a lot of new board gamers coming out with a shake test for board games where they like see how well it's packaged by taking the board game, putting out all of their pieces, and then resetting them back in and shaking it to see if you open it and all of the pieces are still in its correct spots. I don't know if you are you guys not on that part of TikTok? Well, I guess not. Okay, never mind.
I mean, I like to do is I hate actually most of the filler stuff that comes into a board game. So like one of the first things I do when I buy a board game is throw that stuff out, and I put everything in Ziploc bags. But now I'm thinking about Ziploc bags are plastic. So like, what's the eco-friendly substitute for a Ziploc bag?
Yeah.
Like what? I mean, a Ziploc bag is so amazing in terms of like it doesn't take up a lot of space. You can have a whole bunch of them. I guess a cloth bag, but then like the cloth bags often don't seem to seal. I mean,
good points. There's
Mhm.
drawstring. I mean, there's a bunch of other
Sure.
methods. I like to use geek boxes, but again, like if they break or something like that, just remember to recycle. You know what I mean? Like just make sure that you're recycling. I think then you're pretty much doing your part. But for the companies that are making their games or like
Yeah.
choosing manufacturers to go with, definitely leaning towards the ones that are helping make our planet as clean as possible.
Yeah, Stonemeyer, show us the answer to the Ziploc bag, the ebook version.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
sleeves for that matter. Oh, don't
Yeah.
even get me started.
Sleeves.
Well, there's plenty of room for activism in gaming. And speaking of which, there is a fundraising event that just got announced called Roll for Good. They are going to be helping support trans activism and visibility in a fundraiser set to raise money that will involve actual live play live streams where people are recording their TTRPGs like Dungeons and Dragons and Vampire the Masquerade, two very popular role-playing games that pretty much anybody would recognize and tune in to watch. Roll for Good is actually an organization that raises money for charities through role-playing games such as these, and has done this kind of thing in the past. It's a collective formed of international, queer, trans, neurodivergent, and disabled and POC people. Roll for Good is a community that specializes in activism and charitable work, always through the lens of TTRPGs. And that is an area that I feel a lot of people feel the trans community has a lot of relatability to. Escapism, or me myself being part of the queer community, being able to live out fantasies through another lens, understanding your identity in a different kind of way, or at least exploring identity in ways that we usually can through our day-to-day. Previous events that were run by Roll for Good include fundraising for Mind, which is a charity that supports people who need mental health care, and World Central Kitchen, which is a nonprofit organization that provides food to people around the world who have suffered from disasters. It's always really good to see activism through our community and using gameplay to raise awareness for charities that might need them. In this latest event, they will be raising money for Mermaids, which is a UK-based charity that supports young trans people and their families. Due to take place later next month, throughout the entire day, the event will see groups of players and game masters coming together to play a selection of RPGs that will be live streamed and featuring intermissions made up of pre-recorded shows like live chats. We're also going to have they're going to have moderated volunteers and giveaways to encourage viewers to donate to the very, very obviously worthy cause. There's going to be a lot of one-shot playthroughs. There's also going to be a lot of Vampire the Masquerade as well, which has players becoming members of the beautiful and the dead in the modern age. And Camp Slaughter, you might not have heard of this one. It's a role-playing game that has the group role-playing through, excuse me, a horror movie. Sorry, I'm very allergic to horror and horror games and horror movies. So I
haven't seen a cop like that since Munchkin.
Oh, please do not get us started. Oh no, we had a whole discussion about this.
Munchkin month.
No, okay.
No.
Mermaids is a nonprofit organization. Okay, it provides support for trans, non-binary, and gender diverse children and young people, as well as their families. There's plenty of opportunities for people, not just people who are part of the community because that they're trans, but families of these people as well, who want to know how to support their family members, those people who are struggling better, or just allies like you and I. So definitely check it out. Roll for Good fundraising event for Mermaids is going to take place October 22nd. It's going to have you're going to have the ability to watch and donate throughout the whole day. So anytime you need to tune in whenever you can. I don't know what day of the week that is. Hopefully it's like a weekend or something. Looks like it's going to be on a Saturday. That's pretty cool. So if you're not working that day, definitely tune in, check it out, and support a worthy cause. Yeah, so we've had like a lot of bundles, a lot of things that are like supporting really cool charities. I mean, we always do the bundle boss every week where we're always supporting like direct relief or something pandemic related or trans related or abortion rights related or something like that. So we always try to bring something like that to you guys every single week, and we're going to continue that as long as we can. Speaking of some awareness, you ever heard of a thing called climate change? Bonsai, what can you tell us about a game that might be helping raise awareness?
Ooh, okay. Well, I think I have a theme for today. I don't know how it happened. It was coincidental, but yes, we have a theme for today. This, of course, is sourced from is a thank you to Alex Mihan from Dice Breakers for bringing this information to us. Matt, excuse me, I don't know how to pronounce this last name correctly. The designer behind the designer behind the co-op board game, of course, Pandemic, that a lot of people may be aware of, has teamed up with Matteo Menapace, who have basically they had a rich history of making and creating cooperative games. They're going to be creating this game called it's not Dicebreaker, sorry, Daybreak, which is a new game dedicated to making people aware about climate change and what's going on in this world. It's a game that really just takes into account of climate change on a global scale. You play as either the Americans, China, Europe, or the conglomerate of other nations, trying to fix these weird actual problems that are going on in the world today, such as having how much drinkable water we still have, how much the ozone layer is depleting, and how to deal with farmable land still. If it was actually first, I believe in the year before, was a game that was scheduled to be called Climate Change itself, but they changed the name to Daybreak for just kind of make it sound a little bit more nicer, I believe. They actually have their it is actually on BackerKit right now, so if you want to go ahead and check out more details about the game, check out some videos on how it is played, go ahead and check out BackerKit right there, so you can go ahead and see it and be one of the first backers to get your hands on these games. I really do enjoy. I think a lot of people think Pandemic, they don't actually understand what the game Pandemic is. It's really just a game about nations coming together and working through and trying to stop a global pandemic happening on multiple scales. There's multiple outbreaks happening all over the world, and you're actually trying to stop a pandemic versus people thinking that it's they're going to spread it. No, this is actually a game about trying to see and work together to make the world a better place. And you can see a lot of both of these creators have a very much passion of trying to teach people to work together so we can actually solve problems and not make it last for 3 years.
This one actually looks kind of fun. I did like Pandemic when I played it. It definitely had that feeling of cooperating for a common cause, something that's beneficial. It was way before we actually had a pandemic, so it was a little bit less relatable, a little bit less close to home. I could decompartmentalize a little bit and actually play to win, whereas the stakes didn't feel super high or anything like that. But I feel like Daybreak is coming at the perfect time. I mean, we're seeing a lot of repercussions all over the world. We're seeing the increased need for green energy and for awareness for things like this, and having more games geared toward that sort of idea. I mean, what better company, what better franchise to build off of than the Pandemic series? I think this was a really, really cool idea, and it looks so pretty. It's actually I think it's going to draw in a lot of the people who maybe haven't played a lot of board games before. It definitely looks really interesting to me. What about you guys? Have you played any games like Pandemic before?
I think I'd say Matt Leacock is a great designer, and Pandemic is an amazing game. I played a lot of Pandemic. I played the Pandemic Legacy. It's great. So yeah, should be good.
I've never played Pandemic. I always got the Pandemic confused with Plague Inc., which is the game where you create a pandemic and see how quickly you can make it spread. So I haven't wanted to play that in a while, obviously. So, but I'm very glad that you brought up the difference, because I always thought Pandemic was just the board game version of Plague Inc. Now I know
totally different games.
Yeah, I don't know why, but something about something about a cooperative game. I don't think of you as somebody who would be interested in those kinds of games. You have a lot of anger, strife in your heart.
I mean, no, you're right. I generally don't like co-op games. There is one that I am in love with though. That is Return to the Dark Tower. I can't stop praising that one enough.
Well, yeah, that's definitely another great one in the line of co-op games. But I think along those lines, we need to go from the daybreak, the sunshine, and dive down into the deep dark of the night with some Morkborg.
Yeah, the darkness, the deep darkness. Okay, so Alex Meehan of Dicebreaker has broken this. There is Longtail Games is coming out with a Brazen Crown, which is a card game based on the tabletop RPG called Morkborg. Now, I want to preface my coverage of this by admitting that I misread the title in the beginning. I thought it said a Brazen Queen, and so and then that switch stuck in my head as I was reading the article about it, and I kept trying to figure out, is this like about a fantasy warrior queen like a Red Sonja, or like some really cool person you'd meet at a disco? And I just kept and eventually I figured, oh no, it's a Brazen Crown. Have to admit, I was a little disappointed, but I have come back from that, and this game looks very interesting. But first of all, Morkborg, if you haven't heard of it, it is a very dark sort of industrial music sort of tabletop RPG. In Morkborg universe, the universe is decaying. There's a clock mechanic for like when the doom of humanity will happen, and you're trying to basically figure out how to cope and find whatever pleasure you can in life while that happens. So I kind of compare it to Call of Cthulhu, but like Call of Cthulhu, you're in your fear of the world ending. It's about horror and you going insane. And Morkborg is more like just trying to figure out a way to be okay with it. Yeah, so that's Morkborg. There's a bunch of different Morkborg expansions that have come out. There's a Pirate Borg. There is Cyborg. Looks like, yeah, you get it. There is Orkborg, which that's kind of where I went right off the bat. So this will be a card game expansion for the fantasy version. It's a card game, but according to Alex's write-up of it, it is also a expansion for the RPG. So the cards will have you can either play them as a card game or play them or use them in the RPG. The art, by the way, I think one of the most striking things that causes heads to turn when they first see Morkborg is the art. It has a very, very unique art style, which mostly features like black ink sort of drawings against a yellow background, like a bright bumblebee yellow sort of palette to it. So that simple palette creates an evocative and unique, eye-catching sort of aesthetic to the game that really kind of sends your imagination in the right direction. So, yeah, card game. I mean, if nothing else, get it for all the cool art. 300 more pieces of the art of what I just described. That seems worth it to me.
Definitely. A card game based off of Morkborg.
Yeah.
I wonder how the actual card like play is going to be. So you said it's going to be an expansion for the RPG as well as a standalone, right?
Yeah. It didn't the article didn't talk about the gameplay, but it talked about the cards. There'll be minion cards and loot cards and class cards and also tokens. So I mean, I don't know what the play is going to be like. I say get it for the art.
Yeah,
get it for the art, and maybe the play is going to be great too. And get it for your Morkborg campaign.
they've had very successful Kickstarter campaigns from Morkborg and its spin-off franchises as well. So if there's one thing they know how to do right, it's definitely a successful Kickstarter campaign. I see this one following along with the same trend for sure. And I've been getting into card games a little bit more recently. I think maybe in the past I might have been a little bit more hesitant when it comes to card games because I didn't have as much experience. And I mean, there's already Magic the Gathering, and that one's intimidating enough on its own. I don't know if I have the guts to jump into a new card game.
Magic.
Well, maybe this one can be pretty good. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a great game. Highly recommend it.
Awesome. Well, Speaking of some role-playing games, we have some 1D&D news from your favorite Unearthed Arcana. Noir, would you tell us more?
Yeah, I will. um, hey everybody, let's talk about 1D&D Unearthed Arcana. This week, WotC published the newest set of playtest rules for 1D&D. This set includes the 3 expert classes, bards, rogues, and rangers, with 1 subclass for each, a bunch of new feats, the complete arcane divine primal spell list, and a bunch of new base rules. One of the first reveals is that the classes are now being divided into groups roughly based on their function. The expert classes are highly skilled, they all have the expertise feature, and include elements of multiple other classes. The mage classes, wizard, sorcerer, and warlock use arcane spells. The priest classes, cleric, paladin, and druid use divine and primal spells and can heal and focus on defense. And the warrior classes, fighter, barbarian, and monk, deal physical damage. Notably, this split along these lines of class roles is another step in the direction of 4E. It is nice to see people starting to appreciate some of the things that 4E got right. And I just want to say personally, it makes a lot of sense that the ranger got expertise, and I'm very glad that they gave that to the ranger. The ranger needed a lot of love in 5th edition. Bards can now heal with their bardic inspiration. Don't love that. They can use it as a reaction to boost the failed roll instead of having to decide whether or not to use the bonus before you roll, as you do under current rules. Rangers have seen a couple of their key features tweaked. Favorite enemy now just makes Hunter's Mark always prepared as a spell. Makes sense. And it doesn't require concentration. Thank you, God, to maintain for Rangers. Basically, Hunter's Mark is even more essential for Rangers now. So it's a class feature instead of a spell that you cannot take. And then anyway, they're fighting stuff.
I just like jump in. That sounds like really great. I think I'm going to adopt that as a house rule right now.
Awesome.
Not only that, but the Hunter's Mark it's not mentioned here, but I did have a chance to read this. The Hunter's Mark damage scales up in level.
Ooh,
Okay.
So 1, it's a class feature, so you don't have to waste a spell
and maintain concentration.
It's no longer concentration, and the damage scales, which is all we've been asking for this whole time. Anyway, sorry. Their fighting style now grants extra feats, sort of like it did back in 3.5. Thank you. Rogues are largely unchanged. They got them right. The biggest change to feats is that all ability score improvements are now just feats, and you gain feats instead of ability score improvements. This kind of flips the existing logic where you could take feats instead of an ASI. Feats also feel a lot more like they did back in 3.5 and have a lot more variety and a lot of feats requirements, including requirements based on class type, hopefully class features and things like that, but we'll see. Now they have feats with level requirements too. Thank you. That are also introducing level 20 epic feats. Here's hoping we get more epic level content. There are literally 37 new pages of rules to parse through. It's basically as big of a read as most quick start rule sets. So there's plenty to comb through and compare to 5e. Some little nuggets of rules hidden in there too. They're experimenting with rewarding inspiration on a natural 1 to kind of help people fail forward, very similar to how Powered by the Apocalypse does it. Don't love that. Any class with spell casting can now ritual cast any spell with the ritual casting tag. Don't love that. You don't need the ritual caster feature any longer. That makes sense. So
Got some fighting to do, Noir. Me and you have some fighting to do. How dare you not fail forward? How dare?
That's great. By the way, Burning Wheel did it before Powered by the Apocalypse did. Just
hey,
shout
out.
Straight. Yeah.
Also, I think they went back on the whole monsters not being able to crit thing. I think they reneged on that. Thank you. I think they changed the crit rules entirely because people, maybe some of them involved in the show, might have thrown a little bit of a fit at certain classes. Maybe, I don't know, the paladin being less palatable without critting. So, yay.
So much stuff to look at. I mean, Unearthed Arcana has its work cut out for it. Good lord.
Yeah.
I am so excited that they are making all these changes for 1D&D. I know a lot of people are really skeptical about, 1D&D. What does it mean? Is it the next edition, or is it really just a compendium of rules? And what does that mean for the game at large? Well, I mean, seeing all of these really cool changes being implemented, I think it's a good time for them to rewrite some of their rules, add some new ones in, make some sweeping changes, and see how it goes. And Unearthed Arcana is literally built for play testing. So hopefully people can get their hands on it. All I want, and if this is just my big wish to watch, all I want more than anything are prestige classes, because that was my favorite thing back in Pathfinder. And if you have like a goal to look forward to, a class that you can only get if you do specific things in game, it gives me I'm one of those people that loves to accomplish things in D&D. So I really want to have like an opportunity to like do things that may not be entirely, focused on getting loot and leveling up, but they might be focused on doing something for my character's background or their flavor or whatever. That's just my quick WotC rant, my wish fulfillment that I'm praying for. So let's see if anybody's listening and they can catch on.
I've got a whole WotC rant, and trust me, nobody listens.
Okay, well, crushing my dreams as always. Thank you, Noir. But for all our hopes and dreams, we have our bundle boss to lead us into the future. Bonsai, would you please tell us what bundle you have procured for us on this fine week?
I will humbly present this humble bundle here today. It's a fantasy RPG comic book bundle. Basically, do you like graphic novels and do you not have enough space to store all those graphic novels? Well, guess what? Humble Bundle now has a whole collection of digital graphic novels you can get in a whole bundle for $15. That is the top tier you can get. You get 14 comics, couple of D&D comics, Pathfinder Discovery volumes 1 through 5. You also get the first volume of Die, another graphic novel comic that I have personally, and I'm starting to get the whole collection of Skull Kickers. It's just a lot of really great things. Each of these comic books, by the way, or graphic novels, are very at the base price, cost $10 each. You're getting essentially $140 worth of comic book material for only $15, and it also goes to a good cause. So if you're a real big graphic novel geek like myself and really like fantasy, this is the bundle for you. The benefits, the charity benefits, National Network of Abortion Funds. The National Network of Abortion Funds, if you don't know, builds power with members to remove financial and logistic barriers to abortion access by centering around people who have already had abortions, and organizations to intersect all the racial, economical, and reproductive justice barriers that are out there. Just helping people get to where they need to get so they can do the procedure safely and have a choice in the matter. So yeah, it's really, really good. And I'm just very excited about this. I can't tell you how much. It's just spend the $15. Just do it. You won't regret it. Trust me.
So much content. Thank you, Bonsai. Wow. Yes, the perfect medium for consuming Pathfinder in comic form, where they got pretty pictures to help you along the way. Let's move on to our crowdfunder court. Each of us has presented or procured one crowdfunder, which we will present to the court, pending approval by the jury and me, the judge. We will see whose head will be kept intact. As we flip through some of these crowdfunders, let's start with Bonsai.
Hey, well, yes. With 28 days left, we got flip die. Are you tired of all your basic dice that you have on the table and you're like, you know what I want? I want it to be flat and really cool looking and a potential weapon. Well, do I have the Kickstarter for you? It is a set of coins made out of zinc aloe. Of course, starting if you just want one of these coins, they're $25, but for a full set, it's $99. This is all US currency, by the way. And plus a rolling mat, because these coins are hefty. I would say do not flip them on a wooden table. It will mess up your table. So that's why they're like, hey, if you're gonna get a full set, have a mat. That is good forward thinking on their part. So if you don't know, it's a set of 7 dice that you flip like coins. They have very intricate designs on the back and the front, and there's a ball bearing in the inside. So when you flip it, that ball bearing goes tonk, 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 and falls in your hand or whatever surface you want. And that little ball would slot into a number slot designated by inner mechanisms, and that will determine your roll. Their D4 is for some of the designs to let you get inspired. Their D4 has a dwarven Farron. It has a dwarf on one side with a boar on the other. Their D6 has a hellish lynx. Basically, one's designed with 2 versions of a devil, one humanoid looking, one more goat man looking. Their D8 is a Krellin Goonie. It has an octopus lady on one side and a squid monster attacking a giant ship on the other. Their D10 is an Arnid Nox. Basically, they got a spider on one side and then a spider lady on the other one. The percentage dice is a crow piece, basically vampires, blah, 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 vampires. So everybody loves vampires. And their D20, their D20 is a skull, like an angel, skull angel or skeleton angel with Medusa on the other side. So if you guys want to check it out, I would highly recommend just looking at it. They also do they also have a durability test where they take a hammer and try to smash it on video.
Oh,
So
my
that's
God.
a good selling point for me. Just
Yeah.
smash tests. I think my only point is although these are very pretty, I would say they might be a little bit hard to see what you roll sometimes with the ball bearings. That's my only negative comment about this. But if you want something that just looks really, really cool, I would say flip die is what you want.
Can we get that ball bearing sound effect one more time?
Tung, 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 tung.
I backed this much like another 2 Kickstarters that we have. Crowdfunders that we have for this segment. Immediately after I saw that you were going to be talking about it, because I am obsessed with dice that aren't dice, like scrolls or like potions or like coins like this. I've even seen the coin that you actually spin when you stop with your finger, and that's how you turn a coin in. This is yet another way of turning coins into dice. I never would have imagined there was more than one. This is so cool. So I definitely backed it. I'm very excited for it. Let's move on to our next Kickstarter from Peter.
Okay, I am here to present before the court Langmar 5e Monsters. Now, when I found this it's on Kickstarter. When I found this, I about fell off my chair. This Kickstarter only has 36 hours left, and it has only raised $3,142. This boggles the imagination to me. I mean, obviously, okay, it's probably a small press outfit, probably didn't have a lot of promotion behind it, but hey, it caught my eye. Let's jump on this and help this crowdfunding program out, because it's Langmar. I mean, Langmar. Okay, I'm getting blank looks back from my co-host Langmar. Langmar is one of the greatest fantasy cities of all time. This is from Fritz Lieber, the amazing fantasy author from way back in the day. By the way, he was a guest of honor at Gen Con 9 back in 1976. Hung out with Gary and the boys, and I would like to say girls, but there weren't many girls, but we fixed that. It's good now. So Langmar is also the home of Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser. Ringing any bells yet? This is a great property. This is the world of Nuon, which, by the way, also features an H, which you're not quite sure how you should pronounce it. This is a common trend in this particular property, but that's okay. It's got stats on the behemoth, the fish of the air. I wonder what that does. And the ghost hound and the rats of Nuon. This is where it gets really exciting, Javion. The rats of the rats of Nuon. I mean, in different sizes even. There's a whole book dedicated in the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser series to the rats of Nuon. It's actually really amazingly good. So anyway, come on, check this out. This is help out a small company doing a small Kickstarter. They've only raised 3,000. We should be able to double that by tomorrow. So
Wow.
yeah, let's do it.
Well, with a recommendation like that and a price point that low, I mean, how could I not? I think I will. I think, Peter, you have convinced me. So I think we can all agree you're going to keep your head today. But now it's my turn, and now I'm going to blow you all out of the water or court, because I've got one that couldn't possibly fail. It's Terraforming Mars, the dice game. I'm so excited about this. So
Wow.
You guys know how much I love dice, and you know how much I love Terraforming Mars, or any game that lets you collect lots of stuff. Well, Terraforming Mars, the dice game, is a brand new, quick and simple way to play the beloved engine building game, Terraforming Mars. So how is it different? I'm glad you asked. Basically, you start every turn by deciding, do you want to produce a bunch of resources so you can terraform Mars, or do you want to develop Mars into a more livable place? And that will also make you money. You have to decide, you want resources, or do you want to start the engine going? If you decide to produce, you just roll the dice, you keep 3, and you discard everything else. And you might get the steel that you needed. You might get the energy that you needed, or the water that you needed. You don't know until you roll. And then after you've collected the resources, you can try to produce new ones from the engine system. It still uses cards, so you still got all of the great action that we love from the Ares Expedition and the base game. Plus, you also get a chance to draft cards. You can discard any number of them and redraw up to 5, and then you're producing the resources. And then you can also reset blue project cards, which historically have been used for actions. It's great. It's awesome. It looks so cool. And they've already got one expansion ready to go for when the Kickstarter ends, the corporate era expansion. This is a Kickstarter. This is a game that I've been following ever since there were like rumors about it. And there was like a bunch of leaked pics of people playing a dice version of Terraforming Mars that nobody's seen before. That's the only complaint that I've ever had about Terraforming Mars. It didn't have enough dice. You've got 12 days left to back it. There are several levels for the Kickstarter where you can get just the base game, or you can just pledge without a reward, and maybe you'll get on the pledge manager when it's out. But for now, it's only $35 for the whole dice game. It's a condensed version that has a solo version along with it. It's a $50 value, and it's got dice. What more do I need to say? Please check it out. You got 12 days left to go. Okay. Now, for our final Kickstarter, we have something coming from Noir. Tell us more.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's keep my head. First off, the Kickstarter I have for today is Game Space. Turn every surface into a playing area. Right now, they are at $68,000 on a goal of 5,000, and they have 14 days left to back it. You have 14 days left to back it. So have you ever been in a situation where you're just walking around with your friend and you're like, hey, just so you know, I would destroy you in enter card game or board game here. And they're like, no, you wouldn't. Well, you can't find a table. Well, now you don't need to find a table. You got one in your backpack. That's right. With this Kickstarter, we've got wooden slates and pegs, so you can just play board games wherever you want. It's super duper awesome. So yeah, if you ever wanted a gaming table but couldn't afford it, or you just don't want to change your awesome dining table, Game Space is the best solution for you. Buying a Game Space table, you get a square modular with legs, which can be assembled in several options: 2x2, 2x3, 3x3, and you can choose a variant so that the Game Space fits your request. The bigger size options can be transformed into smaller ones. It means that the 3x3 game space can be assembled into 2x3 and 2x2, and the game space consists of square modules, 12 by 12 inch each. The entire platform can be assembled in 3 different options, so you can play any matter of games anywhere you want. Very portable, so you can talk smack wherever you want and then prove it. So
I don't.
So back to Kickstarter. Back it. Just back it. Do it.
Fonzo, were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I don't know about this game because they have one photo of somebody coming immediately out of the pool and then touching the board game.
You've never been swimming and talking smack at the same time.
I have a problem with that. They're gonna ruin my board game. I am not getting water on my game.
Listen, I've done a couple of backstrokes and like saw somebody in the next lane and just been like, I will dust you with magic. And they were like, no, you can't. And then we go to the side of the pool, we settle into the game of magic. My elves come out, do what they do. Whop, bam, I win by the table.
This is cool. They've got somebody playing in the middle of the woods by themselves. I don't know what game they're playing, but it looks awesome.
Solitaire.
just hanging out, playing with a bunch of big minis. I don't know. That's cool. I love that. I want to play D&D in the woods. Now, I mean, I actually did back this when you told me about it, because it's still in the early bird that you can still back. They've got plenty available, and it's not crazy expensive with like a bunch of lights all over it or anything. This is so cool. All right, well, I think that's gonna do it for all of our crowdfunders today, which means, unfortunately, that's the end of our episode today. But don't go anywhere. Wait, we still have TableTakes game night, and we have something very special for this week's episode. Noir, what are we doing?
We are returning to the world of everyday heroes. Javion has decided to recapture his role as Mac. And today's story is going to be our group trying to shut down a bunch of street racers that have turned into international spies.
Whoa, that sounds awesome. So wait, hold on. I think you mentioned this earlier. We're tracking down the Fast Five, right? The Fast and Furious crew.
Yes, you're stopping Vin Diesel and his family.
No, it's about family. It's about family. We're playing Family Simulator, okay? The game. It's about family. We do
putting them down once and for all.
Excellent. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And we have a special guest joining us as well. Who could it be but none other than the God King himself? We murdered him the first time around, but he's back for more. It's Marcus.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Marcus playing with us. It's so exciting. I can't wait. Well, so that is gonna do it for the rest of TableTakes, but we'll be back for game night in just a half hour. For folks who don't know our schedule, let's run it down for you. So we always have TableTakes game night at 3:30 p.m., but we've also got at 5 p.m. every Friday, Sarah's Table. This week, Sarah Moore and friends are gonna be playing Nancy Druid. Get it? Also, on Sunday, we're continuing with Dress to Quest. It's the Nerd Botchery Season 2 with more D&D and even more cosplay. Very exciting. On Mondays, we've got Board Games with the Brothers Murph. And on Tuesdays, we've got Out of Character with Mark Tassin. This week's guest, Elizabeth Bear. Yep, it's their real name. And that's the biggest reason why I'm tuning in. Wednesdays, we've got Actoroki. It's going to be the first of 3 RPG sessions for the Barbarians Christmas special. So we're playing the RPGs now, and then we get to see the Christmas special in Christmas time. Don't you love it? We've got the technology, and we're putting it to good use.
So excited!
I know Peter's excited. I also have a very special announcement for Actoroki. I will be returning! I will be returning with all of the rest of the what were we called again? Crap, what were we called? Who are we? The Bulbarians. That was the crew before us. We had a different crew name for Augie and the Anumians. Oh, no. Right. That's right. Yes. Hold on. It was the Artisans. We are the Artisans.
Ariadne's Artisans.
Ariadne's Artisans. Yeah, that's right. We're returning again. We're back for more to avenge the death of our fallen comrade. All right. And on Thursdays, we've got 10 a.m. Blood on the Clock Tower, and 4 p.m. Roll with Rem Alternus. And then, of course, we got TableTakes game night and Sarah's Table every Friday, starting at 2 p.m. Thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you to all of our hosts. Happy birthday, Peter. And
Thank
remember,
you.
if any of you out there miss any of our programming, you can just check out the VODs or on YouTube 24 hours later. You can see it in its entirety if you missed anything. Don't forget to follow us right here for more of the best 4 days in gaming all year long. All right. We'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Yay.
Bye.